the Supreme Court's acceptance of a new height-based definition of the Aravallis has led to sharp debate over whether it strengthens or weakens environmental protection. Amid conflicting claims by the center and warning by the experts, speak to Neelam Ahluwalia, founder of People for Aravallis, to understand what this definition really means. Welcome, ma'am. I wanted to ask you, the Supreme Court, in its November 20th judgment, it has accepted the Environment Ministry's definition that the Aravalli Hills will be only considered 100 meters above local relief. So, can you explain to us what does local relief mean in simple terms, and what are the ramifications of this new definition?
Actually, it is, this whole local relief thing is very confusing for everyone because even if you speak to, we've spoken to a lot of geologists, and normally, agar you measure like the height of something, it's always from mean sea level, right? So this local relief now it is very it's very arbit because the local relief can be what? It can be anything. It can be like a stone which is lying there. It can be like I they haven't really defined what a local relief is. So there is no, there'll be like a lot of local reliefs. No, relief is basically just any. I mean, I don't know whether whether you're going to count local relief as a which is next to the hill, or like what are you going to count as local relief? So it's very confusing. And then there are small houses, there are farmlands around it. So there are river bodies. So what is it that you're going to count as local relief? I mean, we are extremely confused about that. And that would be left to the maybe the judgment of the local person who is coming to the Aravalli Hills. So it's all very confusing. And this whole, we have to understand that Aravalli is not just above the ground; it's also below the ground. So how can you a narrow definition? Today, you are saying that Aravalli is, only above 100 meters are Aravallis. Tomorrow, you'll say, like, the same thing for whatever else for the Western Ghats or the Sahyadris or the Himalayas. You'll say, like, Ganga below 100 meters is not Ganga. Like, like a, you can't define your natural ecosystems. There is no need for a definition.
You were saying that. Can you just say that that part where you said you're not clear on what local relief means and everything after that?
So, in the definition, when it is said that only Aravallis which are 100 meters above local relief will be counted as Aravallis, it is extremely ambiguous and confusing because normally when you measure anything's height, it is from the mean sea level, right?
Hmm.
Here you see local relief, so we are equally perplexed as to what would a local relief be. Like I was just yesterday, I was in the Sikar district in Rajasthan, and we were looking at all the hills over there, and we were just wondering if they have to measure the height of this mountain. Like, well, what are they going to count as local relief?
Hmm.
So equity at every level. There is ambiguity at every level. So even we don't understand what local relief they actually mean, and no fixed local, right? So then, you to suit your own convenience or whatever, you will just, use whatever local you want, right? Which makes the whole exercise very, very unscientific. So we've spoken to a few geologists, and the definition. When you say Aravalli, what is Aravalli in science? Aravalli is not defined by its local features. अरावली जितना जमीन के नीचे है उतना जमीन के ऊपर भी है. So you can't just have this definition saying that only Aravallis above 100 meters is Aravallis. There are a lot of Aravallis by its these are not tall mountain peaks. So the hills have eroded over the years, and the range is 2 billion years old. So a lot of the Aravalli hills are will not meet the cutoff. I'm not going to go
Right.
into skills of whether it's 90% or 80% or 70%. It doesn't matter. The point is that The definition is extremely unscientific, and it just doesn't make any sense.
And what are the ramifications of such a definition?
So the ramifications of such a unscientific, narrow definition is that a lot of the Aravalli areas would then not qualify as Aravallis. And when an area doesn't qualify as Aravallis, then how is it going to get legal protection? Then it just doesn't get opened up for mining. It can get opened up for real estate, commercialization, all kinds of things, right? I mean, there are Aravalli zoo safari projects coming up in Haryana. There is the threat of real estate and encroachments is always there. Then they want to make landfills and waste to energy plants in the Aravallis. So there is nothing is then everything is open. Everything is open.
Okay, but ma'am, the what the government is also saying is that this definition of 100 meters is something that the Rajasthan government has been following since 2006, which is where two-thirds of the Aravalli range is. So, in that sense, they're saying there is nothing new about this. So, what do you have to say about that?
Okay, so there is a difference. What the Rajasthan government was following. So if I just give you an example, now they were saying that 100 meters, what is above 100 meters, they will protect, and below 100 meters, the slopes and things like that, they're not going to protect, right? So
Okay.
basically, like a mushroom where only the upper part was protected, whereas the slopes were not protected. Now what they're saying is that we'll protect any hill which is to the height of 100 meters, not just, like, I mean, if you take an example, if you're 5 foot, right? So earlier, if you're 5 feet 2 inches, so they were saying that they'll protect the hill from the shoulder upwards, right?
Right.
Now they're saying that they will protect you entirely, 5 feet 2 inches of you, as long as you are 100 meters. But if you're less than 100 meters, then you don't get that protection, right?
Right.
So our question is that there needs to, I mean, have you, before you came up with a definition like this, did you, there's already a FSI definition which is existing. We are not saying that that definition is perfect, right? Which is talking about a 3-degree slope. Now, there has been no exercise or no assessment done as to under the FSI definition, how many hills are being defined as Aravallis, or how much area is coming under the Aravallis, and then compare it with this 100-meter definition which the ministry has submitted to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has accepted it. Our whole point is that why was the Supreme Court in such a hurry to accept this definition? The centrally empowered committee in March of 2024 had recommended, which is a body of the Supreme Court, that a detailed environment impact assessment needs to be done of the entire range. That is still not being done. We are in December of 2025. Then what was the blinding hurry to accept this extremely narrow definition, which was not signed by the expert members at all? So there are a lot of questions, and there is no transparency at all.
Got
The Marcus Curie himself was saying that this definition that's accepted, that's proposed by the ministry, is going to be very harmful to the ecology and the environment of the Aravallis. So even his voice was not heard. So when this definition was proposed by the ministry, and the we were there in the Supreme Court, and we were hearing the entire proceedings, the Amicus Curie spoke for a fairly long amount of time, and he kept saying that this new definition is going to be very detrimental to the ecology and the environment of the Aravallis, and it should not be accepted. None of the technical people have signed on the report, but he was not heard. I mean, even the Supreme Court judgment, when it finally came, there are 2-3 lines which are saying that this is what the Amicus Curie said. So we are extremely perplexed as to
What was the blinding hurry to accept this definition? And
Hmm.
why was it not open to the public for consultation or for comments? This whole exercise has been extremely undemocratic, right? Where the ministry decides on some arbit definition which doesn't make any logical sense, or which is even scientific, and the Supreme Court just accepts it and does not even listen to the amicus curiae who is supposed to be speaking for the Aravallis. And
Yeah.
why, the citizens like us, who file legal cases also for protection of Aravallis, the citizens were not even given a chance.
Hmm. Right.
Where were the people asked, or there was nobody who was standing up for the Aravalli range over there.
Right.
The amicus curiae was speaking, but he was not listened to. There was somebody else who said that they want to file an intervention application, and the bench just said that no intervention applications are going to be accepted.
So basically, what I was asking you is, ki why is there a why does it seem to be contradictory that the minister is saying 0.19% and environmentalists are saying that 90% hills will not be considered under this definition?
So there is a, we are extremely confused after hearing the environment minister, because his own comments and the press release that came out from the ministry on Sunday, and then the committee report, it does not even the total number of Aravali districts may there is variation. Yeah, in his video he said there are 39 Aravali districts. In the press release it said 37. In the committee report that has been submitted to the Supreme Court, with the definition, is talking about 34 Aravalli districts. So we are actually very confused, because we are people who are working on the ground, right? With rural communities who are living in the lap of the Aravallis. So according to us, Aravallis actually exists uh, in 37 districts in Haryana, in Rajasthan, in Gujarat. I am not counting Delhi over here, because in Delhi, anyways, mining is banned. So there are Aravallis are present in seven districts in Haryana, in 27 districts in Rajasthan, and three districts in Gujarat. Whereas what the minister and the ministry is talking about is some 34 or 37 or 39 Aravalli districts, including Delhi. And I think in Delhi there are probably about six or seven districts. So there are obviously a lot of the districts which they are not even counting as Aravallis. So our first clarification from the minister and the Ministry of Environment is that please give us a list of the districts that you count as Aravallis. So there are already there, maybe there are a couple of districts which they are not even counting as Aravallis. So whether that is so anyway straight away taken out from the definition. And then
Right.
second, you are saying that 90% of the Aravallis are going to be saved. On what basis is the minister saying that 90% of the Aravallis are going to be saved? There is a report that People for Aravallis gave to the Ministry of Environment, addressed to Mr. Bhupinder Yadav in May of this year. And then in June of this year, the report that was given in May focused on the status of the Haryana Aravallis in seven districts as a result of mining and as a result of deforestation. Now, in that we have given ground truthing data, which is saying that two districts out of seven in Haryana, right? That is a huge thing, where because of licensed mining, the Aravallis have been just reduced to rubble. So in this report called "Status of Haryana Aravallis," Part One, in which we've specifically spoken about the damage that has been done to the Haryana Aravallis, which we submitted to the Ministry of Environment as well as the Haryana government in end of May this year. We have brought out the fact that out of seven Aravalli districts in Haryana, in two Aravalli districts, because of licensed mining, the policy decision of the government to give out licenses on, you have finished most of the Aravalli range in these two districts. In Charkhi Dadri, there is only this one hill जिसके ऊपर Aravalli plantation project है, on which mining is not happening. In Bhiwani, in the name of Aravallis, you just have these very, very small hillocks left, and rest the entire hills have been reduced to rubble, right? So our whole point is that, and this is in Charkhi Dadri, all of these hills have been given for mining licenses from 2015 onwards. So just in 10 years, you have almost finished off the Aravallis in two districts out of seven in just in Haryana, right? So before a cumulative environment and social impact assessment is done of the entire Aravalli range, if the government wants to actually save the Aravallis and protect the Aravallis, they need to put a halt to mining activities, and they need to do this detailed social and environment impact assessment of all the three states, Gujarat, Rajasthan, and Haryana, as a continuous ecosystem. Without that is done, you don't even know as of now how much damage is done. We have visited all the Aravalli districts across these 37 that we are talking about, across Gujarat, Rajasthan, and Haryana, and the Aravalli range is bleeding in every district. There is licensed mining, there is illegal mining happening everywhere. Rivers have dried up, groundwater level is down to 1,000 to 1,500 to 2,000 feet. People's livelihoods are affected in a huge manner. खेती नहीं हो पा रही है. Agricultural productivity has gone down because there's no water, because the groundwater levels have dried up and have gone down, and the surface water bodies have been dried up, right? So in a situation like this, people are not being able to do. This whole belt is a cattle rearing belt, right? And your Aravalli hills are the Charaga areas. So now when so much of mining is happening, the people are not able to take their cattle for this thing. So all your traditional livelihoods are directly impacted. Then your health impact is huge on the. So people are suffering from silicosis and skin diseases and asthma and liver diseases, kidney diseases. That is so common across the entire range. So, unless you have done a complete social and environment impact assessment, which is something that even the centrally empowered committee asked for in March of 2024, they said that in the next 6 months, an entire environment impact assessment should be done. That has still not been done. And you've gone ahead and given this extremely regressive definition of the Aravallis, which by its very nature, because the Aravalli range and the hills are not that high. So a lot of the Aravalli hills are going to be left out, and then there's so much of ambiguity because you're saying that you're going to measure 100 meters from a local relief. So we don't know what local relief you're going to use.
Right.
So essentially, the government needs to, the Supreme Court needs to recall this judgment. The government needs to scrap this extremely regressive definition. And as a first starting point, they need to do a detailed social and environment impact assessment of the entire Aravalli range. They need to come out clearly, in which people have to be included. Please go to every Gram Sabha of every village. They will show you the impacts that they are going through on an everyday basis. The
Absolutely.
impacts not just on their health, but also on the ecosystem.
Right.
and
Ma'am,
and our
just,
last
yeah.
intention is that you cannot have a uniform definition. Aravallis in every district, in every block, are different. So you cannot have a uniform definition. And Aravallis
Right.
जितना जमीन के नीचे है उतना ही जमीन के ऊपर है. And we want the entire Aravalli range to be protected, because we are already seeing a lot of damage, and we need restoration of the Aravallis now, and not like something which you're calling an Aravalli green wall scheme, because that's not talking about protection to the hills. It is a hills which are your water recharge happens because of the hills. It is a hills that are standing as a barrier to desertification, right? The forests are on top of the hills. You're talking about some Aravalli green wall scheme in which you're going to do plantations, right? Which we don't know whether after 5 years or 10 years those plantations are going to exist, because there are CAG reports which already say that whatever plantations that the government has done over the last so many years, the survival rate is barely anything, right?
Mm.
So you cannot take away our natural shield, right, in the name of mining or real estate or whatever, and say that you're going to come up with an Aravalli green wall scheme to, as a to deal with desertification, because the numbers are already out there. 60% of Rajasthan is desertified.
Right.
360,000 hectares of Haryana is desertified, right? And we are already in the entire Pure Aravalli belt, and even the other non-Aravalli belts, we are running out of water.
Yeah, so my last question, since you were talking about it being a natural sheet and a barrier, since we are staying in Delhi NCR, if this definition is followed and the mining activity starts in the Aravallis, how will it impact the already kind of catastrophic air pollution crisis that we have in this entire belt and especially Delhi?
Right. So, we all we have, people who are living in Delhi NCR. It doesn't have to be explained what they are going through on an everyday basis, where the air pollution levels are so high. Now there are already 12 identified breaches. From a 2017 study, which said that from Ajmer in South Rajasthan to Junjunu in North Rajasthan and Mahendragarh in South Haryana, there are 12 identified breaches in the Aravallis, through which your sandstorms and your desert is advancing towards eastern Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Delhi, NCR, right? And because of which also your intensity of sandstorms has increased. So now if you're going to open up more of the Aravalli hills for mining and real estate and whatever, then obviously there are going to be more breaches, and the desert will advance faster. So one is pollution, second is also your food security is directly threatened. As your whole area
Right.
becomes a desert, your food security is threatened. As your hills are made rubble, your
Mm.
water aquifers below that. So your food security, water security, your pollution levels going high, your PM10, PM2.5, all of that, like millions of people living in Delhi NCR and North India are going to be choking. So this is going
Right.
to become unlivable from the point of view of water as well as air. And plus, we are not even right now talking about the wildlife. So when
Yeah.
you're Aravali, oh, I mean, there's going to be so much of increase in man-animal conflict, because your wildlife is, if you move their home, they are going to be in our homes.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for this interview and for explaining this issue to us.